Unaware he owned the company signing their $800 million deal. They poured wine on him in front of 200 guests, calling him unworthy. No one knew the man they mocked was the investor behind the entire deal. Phones were recording. Whispers spread fast. Something shifted in his eyes as he walked out without a word. And the fallout started before they even realized he'd moved. Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Now let's begin. You know that night where everything looked polished, but something ugly hid under the shine? That was the night Jamal Rivers walked into the Halcyon Grand Ballroom. He wore a navy suit, neat fade, simple watch. Nothing flashy. The kind of look rich people ignored because it did not scream for attention. He liked it that way. Let them guess, yo. Crystal lights hung over white tablecloths. A string quartet played something soft that no one really listened to. Perfume mixed with the smell of steak and wine. Phones were out. Nobody wanted to miss proof they had been in the room. On every screen, one logo kept spinning. Hale Quantum Systems. Their big $800 million deal with a mystery investor was all anyone talked about. The staff whispered about it in the hallway. The guests bragged like they owned it. Jamal moved through the crowd slowly, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning faces. Security had already stopped him once at the door. The guard had looked him up and down and asked, "You with catering, sir?" Jamal had smiled and shown his black invitation card with the silver seal. The guard had stepped aside, embarrassed, but still. Inside, the same energy followed him. Two women in sequins gave him a glance, then moved their clutches to the other arm like he might bump into them. A man in a tux cut in front of him at the bar and said, "Staff first, right?" with a little laugh. Jamal simply shifted to the side and ordered water. No need to explain himself. If tonight went the way he planned, explanations would not be necessary. At the far end of the room, cameras turned toward the stage as the host tapped the mic. His voice echoed over the low chatter. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hale Quantum Systems Gala." Heads turned. Applause rose like a practiced reflex. Jamal stayed near a column, close enough to see, far enough to be invisible. The host smiled too wide. "Tonight, we celebrated a historic partnership. $800 million. A contract that would change the city, the market, maybe the world. You could feel the greed in the room grow thicker." Then she appeared. Vanessa Hale, the CEO's wife, glided onto the stage in a gold dress that caught every bit of light. She waved like royalty, lips painted in a perfect red line. Beside her stood her husband, Richard Hale, the face of the company, tailored suit pressed sharp. Everyone watched them. Everyone, except the man who owned the company waiting to sign that deal. Jamal. Whispers started before Jamal even moved. People clocked him from the corners of their eyes, nudging each other like he had wandered in through the service door. A server passed with a tray of wine, and one guest leaned toward her friend. "I swear that guy keeps showing up where he should not. Maybe he is staff trying to blend in." The friend laughed under her breath. "Cute suit, though." Jamal ignored it. He eased through the crowd, hands relaxed, steps measured. The carpet felt soft under his shoes, thick enough to swallow the noise. He watched the stage from a distance, eyes steady, jaw set. Vanessa spotted him first. Her smirk formed slow, like she recognized a target she had been waiting for. She whispered something to her husband, and Richard's brows dropped. Richard stepped off the stage with fake charm and walked straight toward Jamal. His smile looked tight. "Sir, are you supposed to be standing here?" He reached out and tapped Jamal's sleeve like he expected him to jump. Jamal kept his voice soft. I am fine here. Just observing. Richard chuckled. Observing? Right. He snapped his fingers at a server. Get him a towel or something. Looks like he is sweating through that budget suit. A few guests looked over, trying not to stare. One man whispered loud enough, Who let him into VIP? The staff entrance is on the other side. Vanessa approached next, heels clicking in a clean rhythm. She picked up a glass of red wine from a passing tray without even looking at the server. She eyed Jamal up and down. You know, sweetie, if you needed work tonight, you could have signed up. Pretending to be a guest is not the move. Jamal said nothing. His calm unsettled them more. Vanessa stepped closer, raising the wine slowly. Go take this to table 3. They are waiting. She pushed it toward his chest. When he did not grab it, her smile faded. Seriously? Do your job. Richard grabbed the glass from her hand. Allow me. He lifted it high, eyes on the crowd. One less confused worker ruining the vibe. Then he tilted the glass forward, emptying the wine onto Jamal's suit. The splash hit warm and sharp. A few drops slid down Jamal's collar. Gasps cut through the room. Someone whispered, Damn, he really did that. Another person raised their phone, recording. Vanessa laughed under her breath. Maybe now he knows where he stands. Jamal wiped his jaw with 2 fingers. Slow. Controlled. He adjusted his sleeve, straightened his posture, and walked toward the exit without a single word. A server whispered as he passed. That man walked out like he owned the place. Nobody believed it. Yet. The hallway outside the ballroom felt cooler, almost silent after the burst of noise he left behind. Jamal moved with steady steps, fingertips brushing the edge of his jacket where the wine clung in a dark stain. He exhaled once, quiet and controlled, then reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. The screen lit his face with a soft glow. He tapped one number. A voice answered fast. Ready for instructions, sir. Jamal kept his voice low. Pull the offer. Lock every channel. Announce it now. Understood. He ended the call without emotion. A couple waited near the elevator, watching him like they recognized him from somewhere they could not place. The woman murmured, That's the guy they drenched. He didn't even react. The man shook his head slowly. Rich folks never expect quiet ones to bite back. Jamal pressed the elevator button and gave them a simple nod. Nothing more. While he descended, he loosened his tie slightly. The faint smell of wine lingered in the fabric. The elevator ride hummed with soft music, the kind that faded into the walls. Jamal's reflection stared back at him, steady eyes, calm jaw. He checked a second message. The legal team already confirmed action. Everything was moving. When the doors opened, the lobby buzzed with guests stepping out for calls, drinks, or a slice of fresh gossip. Someone recognized the wine stain and whispered, That's him. He overheard another voice near the bar. I swear something is off. You don't walk like that unless you're somebody. Jamal moved past them without slowing down. Outside, the night air carried a bit of cold, enough to sharpen his thoughts. A valet rushed forward, but Jamal lifted a hand lightly. Walking is fine. The valet stepped back, unsure. As Jamal crossed the driveway, lights from the ballroom spilled across the pavement. Music inside swelled, then cut suddenly. People turned toward the glass windows, confused. A man near the entrance muttered, Why'd everything stop? Something happened in there. Maybe trouble with the deal. His date shrugged, but her eyes stayed fixed on the room. Jamal reached the corner of the lot. His phone vibrated again. A message popped up. Announcement delivered. Partners notified. He locked the screen and slipped the phone back into his pocket. Behind him, the hotel's glass doors opened sharply. Voices rose in shock. Chairs scraped. A sudden wave of commotion hit the lobby. Guests flooded toward the entrance, trying to understand what went wrong. Jamal didn't turn around. He stepped into the streetlight, shoulders relaxed, expression unreadable, moving with the same quiet certainty he carried all night. While the city hummed around him, the first tremor of the fallout began inside the ballroom he had just left. He kept walking. The night moved with him. Inside the ballroom, everything broke at once. The music cut mid-note, screens flickered, and the host froze with his smile half-raised. A tall man in a gray suit hurried through the tables, phone pressed to his ear. His face shifted from confusion to panic. He whispered something to the host, who went pale. Richard noticed first. "What's going on?" he demanded. The host swallowed hard. "The signing is suspended." The room erupted. Conversations rose sharp, overlapping like frantic waves. Someone near the stage muttered, "Suspended? For what?" A woman whispered to her partner, "That's impossible. You don't freeze an $800 million deal in the middle of a gala." Vanessa tried to maintain her poise, but her hand trembled. She leaned toward the host. "Who gave that order?" The host looked almost scared to speak. It came from the top. The partners said the directive was final. Richard's jaw tightened. "Who is the top?" "I am the top." The host shook his head. "Not tonight." Across the room, executives checked their phones. Alerts popped up fast, each one worse than the last. Someone blurted out, "Every account tied to Hale Quantum just got frozen." Another voice added, "Investors are pulling out." "My screen is red." Gasps spread through the room. Cameras clicked again. Even the servers stopped moving. Then someone near the doors tapped a friend and whispered, "Look at this." The friend leaned closer, eyes widening. "Wait, isn't that the guy they poured wine on?" A video played on a phone. The clip showed Richard dumping wine on Jamal, the splash clear, Vanessa smirking. The caption read, "They humiliated a man they thought was staff. He walked out like he owned the place." The clip traveled through the room fast. Guests stared, phones lifted, gasps turned into sharp silence. Vanessa grabbed Richard's arm. "Fix it. Now." He snapped back, "I don't even know what broke." Her voice cracked. Someone did this on purpose. A new alert appeared on the main display screens. Hale Quantum Systems, contract terminated. Richard blinked hard. Terminated? No warning? No negotiation? Someone from the board stormed up to him. "This is catastrophic." "Do you know who you offended?" Richard barked. "I offended no one." The board member shot back. "You offended the man who funded this deal." Vanessa's breath hitched. "Who?" The board member's voice dropped. "Jamal Rivers." Richard's face drained. The board member added, "He owns the partner company. All of it." A gasp rippled across the hall. A server whispered near the wall, "Told you he didn't walk like staff." Another server whispered back, "They messed with the wrong guy." Badly. Richard looked around the room like air had vanished. Vanessa pressed a hand to her forehead, makeup smudging. Her voice shook. "We poured wine on the investor. The fallout hit full force. Guests backed away. Some left quietly. Others recorded everything. Hale Quantum's future cracked in real time. And somewhere outside, Jamal kept walking. Morning arrived rough for Richard and Vanessa. Headlines flooded every screen before sunrise. Clips of the wine splash looped non-stop. Comments dragged them without mercy. Investors bailed. Partners vanished. Board members resigned overnight. Hale Quantum's value dropped so fast it looked unreal. Vanessa barely slept. She sat on the edge of the bed, hands shaking, mascara smudged, phone buzzing non-stop. Richard paced the room, hair messy, shirt wrinkled. Every call he made ended in the same blunt tone. "We're out. Don't call again." By noon, Vanessa told him, "We have to talk to him. If we don't, everything's gone." Richard hesitated, then nodded weakly. They drove to Jamal's quiet neighborhood, the complete opposite of their chaotic morning. When Jamal opened the door, he studied them with calm eyes, like none of the storm touched him. Vanessa spoke first. Her voice broke. "We were wrong. We treated you like nothing. Please, let us fix this," Richard added, shaky. "We lost everything. Just give us a chance to talk." Jamal stepped aside but didn't invite them in. He kept his tone soft but firm. "You didn't lose everything today. You lost it the second you decided people's worth came from your comfort." They stayed silent. He continued, "You built a world where you believed disrespect had no cost. Now you're seeing the bill." Vanessa wiped her face, whispering, "We didn't know who you were." Jamal answered, "That's the problem. You didn't care who I was." Richard swallowed hard. "Is there anything we can do?" Jamal shook his head once. "The deal is gone. The trust is gone. And my door is closed." He stepped back and ended it with a quiet, final line. "Walk carefully. The world is smaller than you think." They left with nothing. His life moved forward. Their legacy didn't. If you want more stories where power flips in a single moment and justice lands clean, hit follow and stay locked in.